Welcome to our Quantum Deep Dive. Today, we're exploring the largest, most powerful machine ever built by humanity, the Large Hadron Collider. And to guide us through this incredible piece of science, we're drawing from the comprehensive work Fenster zur Ohrmaterie by Jörg O.A. Schneeppot. So, to really wrap your head around the sheer scale of this thing, just look at this number. We're talking about a circular tunnel, buried about 100 meters underground, that forms a massive ring, 26.7 kilometers around. That is the racetrack for the fastest particles in the universe. And it actually straddles the border between Switzerland and France. All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to cover 4 key areas. First, we'll look at the huge cosmic questions that even made us think we needed a machine like the LHC. Then, we'll take a peek inside this incredible feat of engineering. After that, we'll get into the thrilling story of its greatest discovery. And finally, we'll explore the brand new mysteries it's trying to solve today. Okay, let's just dive right in. Why? Why go to all this trouble? Why build this absolutely colossal machine? Well, it's because our best theory of the universe, what we call the standard model of particle physics, as amazing as it is, it had some really profound, nagging, unanswered questions. Think about it. The theory worked beautifully, describing pretty much everything we see with stunning accuracy. But it couldn't explain something incredibly fundamental. Why do particles have mass at all? Why isn't everything just pure energy zipping around at the speed of light? The model just didn't have an answer. And then there's this other huge mystery. We can see from watching galaxies that they spin way too fast. So fast they should literally fly apart. The only reason they don't is because there's some kind of invisible stuff providing extra gravitational glue. We call it dark matter. But what is it? The standard model had absolutely no clue. And here's maybe the most existential question of all. According to our theories, the Big Bang should have created equal amounts of matter and antimatter. And if that happened, they would have instantly wiped each other out in a huge flash of energy, leaving nothing. So why are we here? How did matter win this cosmic battle? So the standard model is kind of like this neat and tidy cast of characters for the universe. You've got the fermions. Those are the building blocks of all matter, like quarks and electrons. And then you have the bosons, which are the particles that carry the forces between them. But as complete as this picture looked, one absolutely crucial character was missing from the cast. The one that could maybe, just maybe, answer that first big question about mass. So let's get into the machine itself. To answer those huge questions, scientists at CERN basically had to build a time machine. A device designed to recreate the conditions just fractions of a second after the Big Bang, back when the universe was this incredibly hot, dense soup of pure energy and primordial particles. And this really shows the journey so well. Protons don't just get dropped into the LHC. No, it's more like a perfectly choreographed relay race. They get handed off through a whole series of smaller accelerators, and as you can see, each stage boosts their energy higher and higher, before finally injecting them into that main 27-kilometer ring to get them up to near light speed. Now, to steer these protons at nearly the speed of light, the LHC needs over 1,200 giant superconducting magnets. But here's the kicker. For those magnets to even work, they have to be kept colder than deep space. We're talking a chilling minus 271.25 degrees Celsius. That's just 1.9 degrees above absolute zero, the coldest anything can possibly be. And they do it with a massive refrigeration system that uses superfluid liquid helium. And this is the crucial point. That extreme cold is the secret sauce. It unlocks this amazing phenomenon called superconductivity. It lets electricity flow through those massive magnet coils with zero resistance, creating these immensely powerful magnetic fields over 100,000 times stronger than Earth's. That's what you need to bend the proton beams and keep them perfectly on track without wasting a ton of energy as heat. At 4 spots around the ring, those 2 beams of protons going in opposite directions are made to smash right into each other inside these colossal detectors. The 2 biggest are called Atlas and CMS. You can think of them as gigantic, super-fast digital cameras. They're built with totally different technologies, but they're hunting for the exact same thing. And that's key. It's all about scientific rigor. If 2 different detectors see the same thing, you can be pretty darn sure it's real. And it's not just the 2 giants. There are other, more specialized detectives on the case too. There's ALICE, which studies that primordial soup of the universe called the quark glue on plasma by smashing heavy lead ions together instead of protons. And then you have LHCb, which is laser-focused on cracking that matter-antimatter mystery we talked about earlier. So the stage is set. The machine is running, the detectors are ready, and the hunt was on. The number one target, really the main reason the LHC was built, was to find the final unconfirmed piece of the Standard Model, a particle that had been predicted for decades but had never ever been seen, a real ghost particle. This was, of course, the Higgs boson. The theory proposed that there's this invisible energy field, the Higgs field, that fills the entire universe. You can kind of think of it like cosmic molasses. The more a particle has to drag its way through this molasses, the more inertia it has, and that's what we perceive as mass. So the Higgs boson, that's the physical proof, the little ripple in that field that tells us it's really there. So after decades of planning and construction and, yeah, even a few bumps in the road, and years of sifting through data from literally trillions upon trillions of proton collisions, the moment finally arrived. Scientists were looking through all that debris for a very specific and very, very rare signature. Picture this, July 4th, 2012. An auditorium at CERN is just packed. The energy is electric, and it's being streamed live all over the world. And then the teams from both Atlas and CMS announce it. They had, both independently, seen a new particle. The evidence was undeniable. They had a 5 sigma result, which is just scientists speak for saying the chance of this being a random fluke was less than 1 in 3.5 million. It was real. And what did they find? A new particle with a mass of about 125 giga-electron-volts, or GeV. Now, to put that into perspective, that's about 133 times heavier than a single proton. And crucially, this was right in the ballpark where the Standard Model predicted the Higgs boson would be. The missing piece of the puzzle had been found. But here's the thing about science, right? Finding the Higgs wasn't the end of the story. In a way, it was the end of one book and the beginning of a whole new library. With the Standard Model now complete, the LHC's mission has expanded. Now it's hunting for physics that lies beyond the Standard Model. One of the coolest and most popular ideas out there is something called supersymmetry, or SUSY for short. It's this really elegant theory that predicts every particle we know has a heavier superpartner. Now, if this is true, it could solve a lot of problems with the Standard Model, and it even gives us a perfect candidate for dark matter. But so far, the LHC hasn't found any of these superpartners, but the search is absolutely still on. The LHC is also hunting directly for dark matter particles themselves. The idea is that some of these super high-energy collisions could actually produce them, and since these particles barely interact with anything, they just fly right out of the detectors, totally unseen, but they would leave behind a clue, a signature of missing energy. The collision would look unbalanced, as if something invisible carried momentum away. It's a huge, very active area of research. So, how do you find these super rare events, like a new particle or a strange decay? Well, it's a numbers game. You just need more chances. You need to throw more darts at the board, so to speak. And in particle physics, the term for that is luminosity. It's basically a measure of how packed the particle beams are and how many collisions you can generate every second. And that's exactly the plan. The LHC is currently getting a major upgrade to become the high luminosity LHC. When it starts up again around 2029, it will produce at least 10 times more data than the original LHC ever did. We're talking a flood, a fire hose of new information that gives us our best chance ever to see something completely new and unexpected. So I guess the ultimate takeaway is this. The LHC has both completed our current picture of the universe, and in doing so, it's shown us just how much remains in the dark. That other 95% of the universe made of dark matter and dark energy is still out there, waiting to be understood. The LHC is just a massive testament to what we can achieve with global collaboration and plain old human curiosity. Thank you for joining us for this explainer, which was based on the work Fenster zur Urmaterie by Jörg O. Schneepatt. For more, you can visit schneepatt.de. Goodbye.
Schneepatt.de is a private project by Jörg O. Schneepatt dedicated to promoting quantum technology. Its mission is to present knowledge in a way that is clear, precise, and transparent for those just starting out, as well as for experts who wish to deepen their expertise. He firmly believes that education and access to well-structured information are the keys to unlocking the full potential of this future technology. If his work helps you realize your own visions and actively and consciously shape quantum technology, then the goal of his project has been achieved.